Welcome everybody to the Royal Oak Area Democratic Club. You can see we have a full meeting because we have some great speakers. Plus, it's right before the Michigan Convention and the county convention, so you know we got everybody here wants to see people, wants to talk to their constituents. So I'm going to keep this meeting to a very strict timeline. So please, I may sound rude, but no, I'm keeping us to a timeline because we really have 2 hours to fit in 3 hours worth of job. So my fault, but I wanted to make sure I get you guys some speakers. So welcome. What we do is we're going to start off with introductions. My name is Carl Lava. I am the chair of the Royal Oak Area Democratic Club. Right sitting at that table right there, that's Mike James. He's our vice chair. Our treasurer, Deb, is not here today. And Lisa Mason, right there in the middle room, that is our secretary. So we're going to start off today with a two things real quick. Thank you all who gave to Blessings in a Backpack. I put it out in the email. We had a $500 goal. We're about a third of the way there, but I'm going to keep that link for you guys to donate to Blessings in a Backpack. What Blessings in a Backpack does is not just put backpacks in kids' hands before school. It also feeds them on the weekends during school time when they don't get fed at home. So it's a very worthy cause, and it's all local. Secondly, Russell Bruton, the immigration lawyer that we had last meeting, he had that great slideshow that we didn't get a chance to see. It's on our website. It's under links. So check that out. It's about a 30-minute view, but it's a great view. So we're going to start with a really quick breakout question because I want you guys to meet your neighbors, introduce yourself, find about 4 or 5 people around you. And the question is, considering the challenges our country faces right now, what gives you hope? 4 minutes to talk about that. Talk amongst your neighbors.
Anybody want to sign? You guys want to sign? Oh, you already got a sign. You guys want to sign?
The basketball. On the right side.
So we walk in our park every day, so we proudly wear our.
I love it. We've got more t-shirts in the back too that you can just help yourself do. Of course.
They talked about it right now.
I looked up like all these best types that are taught a million times. And I
The last time I checked, she was at Honolulu. Ask a question.
Yeah, she insists on it. We're not allowed to like all audience questions, which make our job a lot easier, but she insists we just call it. She's the real deal.
As soon as my clock hits 7, you're stuck, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Pat, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's like 10 pounds now. Yeah, and like, social. So, yeah, she's growing like a weed. Uh-huh. So, yeah, I've been able to get over there once a week, All right.
All right, yeah, like right here. Just me. Go for it. All right, let's bring it back here. All right, I'll take give me three people who've got some great things that we that gives them hope. Yes, go ahead.
Aware of the struggles that other people have, hearing them be aware, thoughtful about what people are going through, really look for inspiring things.
So the young people, yes. Excellent. Anybody else?
Yeah. Obama at the funeral of.
Yes.
And I heard what Obama had. It's been a lot.
Yes, it does. Oh,
The number of people in this room today.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, hopefully, if there's anyone who needs a chair who cannot stand for any length of time, we do have some up here. Or please find a chair. I don't want anybody who cannot stand for any length of time standing if they can help it. All right, so there are chairs available. Go ahead and fill it in. Our first speaker today barely needs an introduction for this club because this is her home club. And she is well known to this club. She's been, she probably didn't have to drive too far to get here. And she's a author as well. Excellent book, well read. It is not signed, unfortunately, and it does belong to me, but there's also a pen. There's also a pen up here. If someone would have to sign it, I wouldn't mind. But so current state senator running for U.S. Senator Mallory McMorrow.
Good morning, Royal Democrats! Oh my gosh, this room is incredible. The energy is incredible. I did not expect it to be this sticky today. Yes, normally we can walk here, but we would have had to ford the river that is Star J.C. Park. So we did drive. But thank you, everybody, for coming out today. This is what gives me hope for this election cycle. That so many people are engaged, are showing up. That was my biggest fear after the 2024 election. I woke up the next morning, and unlike the first time this guy got elected president, we could no longer say this is not who we are. We had to look around at the country and our state and look around at ourselves and say, maybe this is who we are. And I didn't like it, and it didn't feel good, and it didn't make me feel comfortable. And I was so worried after that people would just give up. And what this room shows me is we are not giving up. We are fighting back, and we are going to take our country back this year. So I am State Senator Mallory McMorrow and Senate Majority Whip Mallory. When I first ran for office back in 2018, I ran against a guy named Marty Nolenberg. You remember him? That's right. And when I stood up here, I was nervous as hell the first time to introduce myself and say, hi, I'm Mallory McMorrow, and I want to beat Marty Nolenberg. And there were some in the Democratic Party who looked at me when I told them what I wanted to do the first time and said, oh, honey, that's cute. Marty had won his last election by 16 points. And there was this idea that that was too big to beat. But not this club. This club, which I got to tell you is the most active, engaged Democratic club in the entire state of Michigan. This club showed up. We knocked on thousands of doors. We had 500 volunteers over the course of a year and a half. We beat them by 4 points in 2018. That's a 20-point swing in a single cycle. Then a few years later, it wasn't enough just to win a seat and break the Republican supermajority. We flipped control of the entire state Senate for the first time since 1984. And again, so many of you were a part of that with my PAC. I know so many of you came with me all across the state to knock on every door, to hold rallies, to host fundraisers, not for myself, but for a dozen other candidates running for state Senate. And when we took power, I'm not gonna lie to you, it feels really good to beat these guys, doesn't it? Really good. But winning alone is not enough because we have to actually deliver for people. So when we took full power in Lansing, we governed like we care. We repealed the 1931 abortion ban. We vastly expanded access to reproductive health care. We expanded civil rights. We expanded voting rights. We built 100,000 new housing units. We passed the strongest clean energy legislation in the entire Midwest. We passed filter first legislation to ensure no child will ever drink lead-tainted drinking water in a school or a child care facility ever again. We passed sweeping gun violence prevention, including Michigan's red flag law, which was my first bill ever signed into law. And we had that signing right here in Royal Oak with a lot of the youth who were impacted in the Oxford school shooting, a lot of the kids who helped me on my first campaign, even when they weren't 18 yet, because they knew their voice mattered and that we could organize, we could rally, we could win, and we could make real change. That is why I'm running for United States Senate now. Because what I know, Royal Oak Dems, we are the ones who wrote the blueprint that the rest of the Democratic Party better well follow. We showed the rest of the country how we can show up everywhere, how we can organize, how we can win in places where people think we have no business winning. And then when we get power, we do what we say we are going to do to make people's lives better. Now, I am going to admit to you, in that first race, when I Googled how to run for office after the 2016 election, I did it in a reactionary way. I was angry. I was angry that Donald Trump could somehow become the president of the United States. I was angry about the ugliness that I saw. But over my last now 8 years as your state senator, I've seen the power that we all have when we organize, when we come together. And I'm coming into this race not just as your state senator, but as Noah's mom. That's Noah. That's my daughter. She just turned 5. What I know is you do not mess with a mom. The mama bear claws will come out, and I will do everything in my power to make sure my daughter and all of your kids, everybody in your family, has more rights than we had, not less. That we build a better tomorrow where she can breathe clean air, drink clean water, where she doesn't have to worry about going to school and not coming home at the end of the day. Where we can build economic opportunity, where she will have every opportunity that we had, where she can build a life in Michigan, where she can buy a home, where hopefully one day she will start a family and I will become a grandma and retire. I don't want to stay in this office until I'm 90, y'all. We need to stop that. The last thing I'll say is Royal Oak. I say in every room I walk into, I want to fight with you as your next United States Senator, not for you. Because none of us can do this alone, but together we can do anything. And together, all of us, even though Republicans control the Congress, even though Republicans control the U.S. Senate, and even though Republicans control the White House, we fired Kristi Noem. It turns out when all of us come out and organize and protest and use our voices, we can shame the president into doing what we want to do. You ready to keep going?
Yeah.
Are you ready to show the rest of the country what it looks like for Royal Oak and for Michigan to fight?
Yeah.
Are you ready to show the rest of the country what it looks like for Michigan to win? Are you ready to take our country back? Let's do y'all. I'm Mallory McMorrow. Take questions. Any questions? Yes.
How are you polling in Upper Michigan and the Upper Peninsula?
Oh.
You're campaigning up there.
How about
Because it's a big Republican area. Republican. I want to know how you're doing.
yes? The great thing now, I have now been campaigning since April of last year. We're going on 1 year of the campaign. Noah's going to be in college by the time this campaign is done. I have now been up in the Upper Peninsula multiple times. The great thing that happens is I come up and people say, good to see you again. People want to see you in places where they've never seen Democrats. And I can tell you, my colleague, Ed McBroom, who is the state senator for the Upper Peninsula, he's a conservative Republican. He is also famously the guy who oversaw the oversight committee in 2020 that said the election was not stolen. So he's a man with deep integrity, even though we don't agree on much. I'll tell you this. I was up in the UP for the UP 200 dog sled race, which is so fun. If you ever get a chance to go, amazing. And he started introducing me to people as, please meet our next senator. So I take that as a good sign that we're doing pretty well. We are showing up in the most red conservative areas. We've been on a statewide brewery tour since the start of this campaign, inviting people to come out, grab a beer. Our events are packed. So we're doing really well. And I believe that we need to show up in places where people have never seen Democrats before. That's how we won this state Senate seat. And that's how we're going to win the entire state of Michigan. Okay. I see question in the back. I don't know if I can run the microphone all the way over there. Okay.
And stuff like that. Obviously, I'd like you to do some really quickly.
Oh, thank you.
In regards, in every state now, there's certainly a Michigan VP on state as well as the tri-county area. So I was
Absolutely, yes. Senator Cavanagh has been very helpful. When I call, she takes my call. We have great conversations, especially as somebody who led on ag and the farm bill. You know, we need to make sure, and I talked to Senator Heidi Heitkamp about this. She said something that I really like. She said, too often, Democrats show up in rural areas as missionaries and not friends. Think about that. Going into places to say, I know what's best for you, and you're voting against your own interests. We got to stop that. So yes, we are in constant communication. I really appreciate her willingness to pick up the phone and just listen. And that goes for Senator Peters, that goes for Senator Slotkin. Everybody's had an open door, and that's wonderful. Yes.
Can you please share how Democrats are pushing back in Washington in the Congress?
How are Democrats pushing back in Washington in the Congress? Honestly, I don't feel like Democrats are always meeting the moment. I don't. I ruffled some feathers when I announced last year. The first question that I got from a reporter from Politico was, will you support Chuck Schumer for leader? And I said no. And here's why. This is not a criticism of his lifetime, his career of service. I think that's admirable. He's a great legislator. But this is such a different moment. And the same skills that are about debate and about civility and about bipartisanship, it doesn't meet this moment. That's what we learned here in Michigan. You know, I helped break the Republican supermajority, but I came into a state Senate minority that Republicans had controlled my entire lifetime. And then I got attacked the same way that Trump attacks people. I was smeared as a groomer and a pedophile in a fundraising email for one of my colleagues. And instead of just taking it and saying, well, this is the time for bipartisan solutions, we stood up and we fought back. But we threw a punch to get back to the conversation we wanted to have. When I gave that speech in 2022 that some of you may have seen, the reason that I think it went viral the way that it did was not that I was angry. It's because I said people who are different are not the reason your healthcare costs are too high. People who are different are not the reason why housing is too expensive. People who are different are not the reason why the roads are in disrepair after 40 years of disinvestment. That's why it matters. So I think we need new leadership in the Senate that knows how to compete with a reality TV show president, that knows how to throw a punch, knows how to fight back, but knows how to do it so that we actually build power so we can make people's lives better. So I wish I saw a little more fight out of United States senators. I have been endorsed by 3 United States senators, including Chris Murphy, and he's an exception that I think is rising to meet this moment, and I'm very honored to have his support in the campaign.
In Lansing, is there any conversation about the integrity of the November election?
Oh, great.
I want to remind everybody, the word was vote for me and you'll never have to vote again.
Yeah.
So that's been a fear of mine since 24.
And we have to take it very seriously. For those who didn't hear the question, he asked, what about the integrity of the 2026 election? I serve on the State Senate Elections and Ethics Committee. So we have been responsible for implementing all of the changes that we all voted for in Prop 2 to vastly expand access to the ballot. Now, what's true is that a lot of people don't know about all of the ways we now have to vote. It is not a mistake that when the President of the United States says that he wants Republicans to nationalize elections, note he didn't say the country, he says Republicans. And his rationale, he points directly at Detroit. That's not a mistake. That's a signal for what they are planning. And what we know is that the most vulnerable moment for elections is Election Day. That's where we could see ICE agents. That's where we could see the National Guard. That's where we could see intimidation, and we should plan for that. I don't want to lie to everybody in this room and say it's going to be fine. We should plan for the worst. But it's incumbent on all of us. Every single one of us can go home today and tell our friends and neighbors of all the ways we have to vote early. We now have no reason absentee voting. Every single voting resident of the state of Michigan can get an absentee ballot 45 days before the election. So you can sit at home, you can take your time, you can research the candidates, and you can drop it at one of the secure ballot drop boxes we have. We now have one for every 15,000 residents. So if you're worried about the mail, don't drop it in the mail. Drop it in a drop box. We now have 9 days of early in-person voting. I voted right here in the last election, taking advantage of early voting. It was great. All of the election workers were so happy to see you. They might even let you take an extra sticker if you show up and vote early. I'm not going to promise. But that's on us. The more we can push people to vote early, we also passed legislation to finally put Michigan in line with Florida to allow our clerks to pre-count absentee ballots that are turned in early. Because what we saw in 2020, because the clerks couldn't start tabulating absentee ballots until the polls closed on election night, that's where we saw doubt seep in. Because the longer it took to get results, that's where we saw the message of flooding Kobo. Go down there. Something's amiss. There must be some fraud happening. There wasn't. We've had more than 250 independent audits for the 2020 election. We have one of the most secure election systems in the entire country. We have hard copy paper ballots. Our tabulators are not hooked up to the internet. We are the model for the rest of the country. But the best way that we can fight back is encourage all of our friends, family members, relatives to vote early, to make sure that your vote counts, because who knows what the weather's going to be like on election day. If there are threats and intimidation, people might not want to show up. I now represent a portion of Detroit, and I can tell you that some of my constituents in the last election got robocalls saying, don't forget to vote on Thursday. We should expect that. We have made it illegal in the state of Michigan through my committee to intentionally disseminate false information about the elections. That gives us the ability to prosecute after the fact, but we should still plan for it. So the more we can help everybody vote early, the stronger our elections are going to be. One more question.
How much is being broken right now? When you get at very first thing you're imposed.
That's a great question. For those who couldn't hear, he said so much is broken right now. When you get in, I like the optimism. What is the first thing you want to focus on? I believe we have to walk and chew gum at the same time. So, trick question, trick answer. I want to focus on two things. I would be one of the only parents of a young child serving in the U.S. Senate. And it is not a mistake that every time bipartisan bill packages have come up, even under Democrats, caregivers are on the chopping block. That happened with the Inflation Reduction Act. So I want to make sure that Michigan and the United States finally joins the rest of the industrialized world with universal paid leave. To make sure that you do not have to choose between caring for your child, caring for your aging parent, and your career. And I already started this project, but we have to go through every single norm, every single rule that this president has violated and codify them into law so that we can have oversight, we can have accountability, and there are real consequences to ensure that nobody can ever do what he's doing with the White House ever again. And I will just leave you with this. This president has now, that we know of, enriched himself to the tune of at least $1.4 billion. Just since taking the presidency the second time. That's just him. His family, at least $4 billion. This is nothing but a grift operation. And if we don't close these loopholes, we got to stop assuming that the founding documents and the Constitution were going to protect us. They're just words on paper. We have to do it, and I will when I'm in the U.S. Senate. Okay. Can I take a team selfie with everybody? Great. All right. Oh boy, that's a big group. Everybody hands up, we're gonna win in 2026! Yeah! Love it. Thank you. Awesome, thank you everybody.
Thank you so much. All right, one last one on the ballot for future Senator Melanie McMorrow. All right, youth committee, please come up here. A couple things. Mallory's team brought some coffee and some donuts, which are in the back. And if you guys are here to sign a precinct delegate affidavit, Tom is in the back. Tom is standing over there in the corner. He has some applications as well. Notarize them as well. All right. Come on up, guys. So our youth summit is coming up March 21st. Government, leadership, community involvement for a day of connection, learning, and skill building. It's on March 21st, right here at Bamboo in Royal Oak. We are looking for about 75 to 100 youth between the ages of high school and say 35. We have a lot of great speakers lined up. We have a lot of things going on. There is going to be free food. We have a coffee cart coming from Desert Oasis. We have free healthcare if free childcare if needed. Free healthcare. Medicare for all. We will be providing Medicare for all. I don't know. But this is the crew that is putting it together. So I'll hand it off to Matt.
Sure. Two most important things: we need people, and obviously we still do need money. So any contributions that anybody wants to give, you can do the QR code to register. So let anybody that's a young person in your life, please register. We don't have much time, obviously, up here. We're going to be passing around some sacks, so any money that's like the church communion. So please fill them up.
Yes, we're really looking forward to the event. The goal is to get youth involved in politics, and there's a whole bunch of different speakers and topics, and I'm personally very excited to go. I know we have other people might be excited to go.
I'm personally looking forward to seeing all of our elected officials that are able to go to meet with people that can't or that aren't as involved as some of us here are, and to build those connections so people know who's making the choices in either Lansing or are going to be making the choices in DC.
And so we're very close to raising enough money for what we need. So we're going to have some bags, and we're going to I'm going to throw in some money. And if anyone else would like to donate, strongly encourage. So we're going to have our team go around and raise some money. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Love that. Come down the middle like that.
Yes.
I don't know.
No, you're welcome. Everybody go out there.
Please be part of the group.
Yeah, you're getting younger all the time.
Judith, if you show up, the first thing you're gonna get is a free headshot, and you be able to use this headshot in your next resume. Okay, so that's one thing that everyone's gonna get. They're gonna get a free headshot, a free lunch, and free coffee. Really encourage you to come. Now, last time, this group gave $1,300 in 10 minutes. $1,300 in 10 minutes. We have a lot of people who were here last time, so give it up, people. Help us out. Help us fund this youth summit. Thank you.
And if you don't have cash today, this QR code takes you right to our Square site, and you can donate on there. We have sponsorship levels from 50, 100, 250. So the idea is to get all this youth there, and it's supposed to be free for them. So that we can get it free for them. That's why we're asking for your donation today. All right, Owen and Cameron, do you guys want to come back up here? So if you guys are not aware, we also have within Royal Oak, we have a Royal Oak High School Dem Club, and they are an incredibly active team, and they have been doing a lot of great work, having a lot of great meetings. And here's Owen Kruger to tell us about it.
Hello, everybody.
Owen.
So I don't have that much news for us, but I would love to say that we are continuing to meet and we're continuing to grow. We're having new faces every single week that we meet, averaging about 20 people at our meetings now, which I think is a great number at the high school. We have a lot of people who want to go who can't still. And we're working on trying to find a solution for our problem of having guest speakers. We used to be able to have guest speakers at the school, but after the Turning Point Club got formed, we got that taken away from us. So now we're going to try and find a workaround for that. And we'll be working on that. So if there's any elected officials in here, we'd love to talk to you about that. Other than that, I don't have other news other than we're continuing to meet, continuing to talk, continuing to learn about what our fellow peers care about, and we're continuing to talk and be here and have people show up to events that matter.
Call out the high schoolers that are here.
Where are my high schoolers in the back? Thank you so much, and come to the youth summit.
Thank you, Owen and Cameron. Thank you so much. All right, so we all want change. We all want change in this country. We think this country's going in the wrong direction, I believe, if you all agree with me. What is the smallest position you can hold electedly in the state of Michigan in the Democratic Party would be a precinct delegate. If you don't know what a precinct delegate is, here's a short explanation of what it does. But I've been a precinct delegate for 2 years now. And what you do is you have a small precinct within your neighborhood. You work with other precinct delegates to engage with people door to door, via text, via phone calling. There's a lot of help. There's training involved online. There's training involved locally. Our man who's a precinct delegate liaison, William, he's not here at this meeting, but he's here all the time. So again, we need precinct delegates. It is who gets the vote out in November. It's who gets the vote out before every election. And every one of us can do our part by becoming a precinct delegate. It's not a lot of work, I promise. I'm going to keep on doing it until I can't walk anymore. So again, if you want to fill out a precinct delegate affidavit, Tom is standing in the back. It needs to be notarized. He has extra forms. Fill it out, notarize it, and we will even drive it to the county to have it filed for you. So thank you for that. One more thing, guys. We have some chairs up here. For anyone who's standing, we have 9 chairs up here. 10, maybe 10 chairs up here. Come on, sit down. We're only halfway through the meeting. Not even halfway through the meeting. All right. Next up, we're going to take elected officials. Any elected officials who would like to speak? Any elected officials who would like to speak? Michelle, come on up. Dave. We'll go Michelle and then Dave. Welcome, Michelle. She's from the Royal Oak School Board.
Yeah. I just wanted to make you aware, if you're not already, of some upcoming things that will be coming to the August ballot. We will be voting this coming school board meeting on a millage or a bond. Some of you have probably been to the community sessions where we've talked about the work that we would like to do with the bond money. We have had a bond in the past, and that has concluded. And so we got together and looked at the needs of the district. And so we are proposing a bond that would have a zero millage increase for the voters. And it would allow us to do a lot of needed repairs and upkeep, including HVAC systems. It would also allow us to do things like increasing our spaces for special needs learners, making sure that we have welcoming spaces that have good offices and all the things that are going to support our staff and our students to make a good learning environment. And so I brought along this is the actual proposal that the school board will be voting on the coming Thursday. And please come out. I'm sure that there will be some sort of presentation to give you more information. If people are interested in particulars, you come and see me afterward, and I'd be happy to show you. Also, there is going to be on the August ballot an enhancement millage for Oakland schools. And the enhancement millage will be a new millage, and it will be something that would garner, I think, $3.5 million per year for the Royal Oak schools. And so those, yes. So we'd also like to see support for that as well. That's all I really have for right now. Do we have any questions? Yes. That is a good question. I am not sure if it's online. Yes. Not yet. Because the reason why is because it hasn't been voted on by our board, which will be happening on Thursday. Okay, thanks. Any other questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next up, we have Dave Woodward for the Oakland County Commissioners.
Thank you, Carl. Good morning, Democrats. We're feeling it. This is exciting. It's like coming home. I remember when the Royal Oak Dem could barely fit around a table in the library, and to see a crowd like this is fantastic. As I was driving here, the Democratic Club, the Royal Oak Democratic Club is where I met my wife, Stacy. It's in the back, 25 years ago. And our oldest kid, Alice, is co-chair of the Royal Oak Dems, the Royal Oak High School Dems. And so I guess coming full circle here. It's great to be here. I'm going to be really brief. Democrats have always been the party and the leaders that have fought to make the world more affordable for working families, have fought to make people's lives better, to stand up to injustice, and we're doing it every single day, even at the county level. The report card is in, and if you guys didn't hear the incredible State of the County address that Executive Dave Coulter delivered earlier this week, the numbers are great. All the bad numbers are going down. All the good numbers are going up. I just want to list off in some of the key highlights. Oakland County was the first that delivered on eliminating medical debt. $20 million of medical debt eliminated for over almost 20,000 people. That's the tally this week. When Republicans want to shoulder young people with college debt and student loans and all the other types of things, Democrats are standing up. Oakland County, the first county in the country, partnering with an organization called Savvy. Think of it as TurboTax for eliminating student debt. The numbers are out. Over 3,300 people have enrolled in the program, saving on average $1,700 a year, nearly $59 million under management, and up to 34 million of that is on track over the next 10 years to be wiped out permanently. Oakland County did that. Affordable housing. We've been talking about affordable housing. You heard about some of the things that the state has done. No other county has invested more into build new housing that's affordable for working families in Oakland County. We started the Oakland County Housing Trust Fund, seeded it with $20 million. Thank you, Uncle Joe Biden and the American Rescue Plan to help us do that. And we're dedicating millions of dollars every year. 1,100 units over the last 3 years, under construction or completely open, putting us on track to be able to meet the housing needs in Oakland County come the end of the decade. On homelessness, we talked about this here in the club. Over the last 5 years, homelessness is down 22% in Oakland County. We're building new shelter capacity, family shelter capacity. The last census, 357 people are still homeless and having to use shelters and everything that don't have secure housing moving forward. We've got a lot more to do. We're on the right track. And then lastly, you all know that I care a lot about transit. And the numbers on transit is outstanding. Oakland County, countywide transit, a base level transit every quarter, even out in Holly, Michigan, that we're able to deliver, delivering more rides to more people to more destinations than ever before. Thank you to Haley Stevens for securing $2 million for additional buses to be able to put on the roads, to get 100,000 more rides moving around here. And excuse me, over 7 million rides delivered in Oakland County last year alone. More to come. Thank you very much. And become a precinct delegate.
Thank you, Dan Woodward. Here, real quick, Charlie, you got something to update us on?
$515. Thank you, folks. Almost 2,000 from this group. Anyone here under 40 years old, please raise your hand. Under 40, please come to our summit. The sign-up sheets are back by those two wonderful women back there. Asya, raise your hand. She's got the sheets. Come on up after the end of the meeting and sign up for our summit. Thank you.
Charlie. I love this man. No, 40, no. It's aimed at, how about this? It's aimed at youth, but if you show up, you'll learn something. So come on by. You guys, there's still some more chairs up here. Next up, elected officials, we got Amanda Herzog and Rebecca Cheezum and Amanda Herzog. Come on up from City Commission.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Oh, Commissioner Paul Bastian as well. Right. Good to see you all this morning. I'm just going to do a really quick update on the Safe Routes to School initiative because I've been here before to talk to you all. Several of you helped me with this. We've been talking a lot of really big issues in walkability to school. I would argue that that's really important for a lot of people. It's important for our kids, and it's also important for our seniors because when we improve walkability to schools, we improve walkability for everybody. So we were able to get over 50 volunteers to audit around 500 blocks around the city of Royal Oak, and we're bringing that data with some other data together, and we will be applying for this grant by the fall. So we're very excited to the potential to bring in a couple $2 million to improve walkability around our whole city. It's also been really exciting to collaborate with our public and some of our private schools in the city. So I love that collaboration. It's been a little while since I've been able to attend one of these meetings. So I just wanted to bring that update to you. I really appreciate several of the members of this club helped complete those audits, and we are not able to apply without that effort. So thank you so much for that.
So since we were talking about democratic values, I wanted to thank our state partners who are thinking about parental leave. We are also working on a parental leave policy in the city. We didn't have one, and so we want a policy that works for all families and not making any assumptions about who the primary caregiver is in anyone's family. And so it's a little bit more trickier because if we had our state partners having something statewide, it'd be a little bit easier for us to put together. But this isn't just something that benefits the employees of our city. Of course, that helps us with keeping talent and recruiting talent, and we want the best working in our city. But it also helps you with public safety. So when someone's out on a run and they have the time to be 100%, they can be 100% for you. So that's why we're really pushing a great policy for the people that work in Royal Oak. And so state partners, please keep working on this. I also want, because we're short on time here, just point out that next month is Earth Month, and I will come with a bunch of updates about how Royal Oak is leading Southeast Michigan and the state in sustainability. But mark your calendars for April 18th at the Farmers Market for an Earth Day celebration.
Also, in the spirit of keeping it really quick, 2 quick things. One, St. Patrick's Day parade next week. Come out, celebrate, have fun. It's going to be awesome. Second, I want to extend a personal thank you. I came to this club a couple months ago asking for people to start coming to public comment at city commission meetings and planning commission meetings and zoning board. And that has happened, and that has happened because of people in this room. So thank you. We need and want and appreciate your ongoing support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, City Commission. Fantastic. Next up, Judge Andy Kowalkowski.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. I'm Judge Andy Kowalkowski, one of the 2 judges at the 44th District Court in Royal Oak, serving Royal Oak and Berkeley. Couple of brief updates about what's been going on at the court. Our Operation Drive program continues to flourish. That's something that I've talked a lot about in front of this group. That is our driver license restoration docket. Where we work with individuals who are kind of caught in that cycle of tickets for driving without a license, and we'd like to put an end to that cycle. As of Thursday, I think we're up to 1,936 licenses that have been restored since we started drafting that. One of the other important updates on that program is that the legislature had set aside some money for other courts to start up those dockets in their own courts. And also this week, we got a notice that I think about 11 courts are going to be starting up their own Operation Drive dockets. They're all collaborating with us. We've been meeting with judges in Ontonagon, in the UP, Iron Mountain, Saginaw, Flint, Rochester, Troy, Novi, Romulus, and a few others. So the program is spreading across the state of Michigan, and that's something that started right here with Judge Meineke in 2013. So very exciting up to that. The last thing I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, this is another thing that I talked about a couple of different times, but the Road to Restoration clinics that the Secretary of State has been running across the state of Michigan. It's a clinic where the Secretary of State essentially sets up a mobile office, and we've had that now twice in Royal Oak, once at the Farmers Market, a second time at the Boys and Girls Club, or the Metro Detroit Youth Club, excuse me. And now it's coming back April 14th to the Farmers Market for another Road to Restoration clinic with the Secretary of State. There's going to be 5 district courts there to help out with different issues that people are experiencing in the courts and give them an avenue for information and hopefully to clear things up right there on the spot. So exciting, April 14th, Farmers Market will be a Secretary of State branch office, and there'll be 5 courts there to help out as well. So keep that in mind if you know anybody who's struggling with licensing issues. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Andy. Appreciate it. Now, just to speak on legislation, is Judith with me.
Thank you, Carl. Hello, I'm State Rep Natalie Price. I represent most of Royal Oak, in addition to Berkeley, Huntington Woods, most of Birmingham, little bits of Bloomfield Township, Southfield, and Beverly Hills. I am just here to talk about legislative update from Lansing, and I want to focus on something actually that happened in appropriations this week. Republicans brought up their plan to consolidate all of the data from the state into one single office and then make it exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Right. This is following the path of what was done federally to set up for DOJ. So I raised the red flag on this. I asked a question in committee to ask about what guardrails would be in place to protect our personal health tax data. And that question, instead of getting an answer from Matt Maddock, he called it hostile and refused to answer the question. And the chair did not let me ask for an answer for the question. So this is just an example of me trying to let people know they are doing some pretty sneaky stuff over there in the Republican House. I want everybody to be aware and to guard against it. So you can find the video of the presentation and the question on the internet. If you go to my legislative website. You will see all that information. And I just want you to know I'm going to continue to show up and speak out and let my constituents know, especially when they're trying to pull one over on us. So that is my quick update. If you want to talk to me about anything else that's going on in Lansing, in the budget, or in laws that we're facing, I'll be here until everybody leaves. So see me after. Thank you.
That's nice. Next up, Clawson City Councilwoman Heather Rinkevich.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, we are part of the Royal Oak Area Dems Club, so trying to be more regular here. Anybody from Clawson here today? Yay, Jamie back there. Woohoo! Okay, so not too many updates from Clawson City Council, other than one I wanted to mention. So anybody attend Clawson Fest in August? Anybody here attend that? It's a pretty fun event. It's one of our biggest events outside of Clawson 4th of July. I think everybody knows about Clawson 4th of July and our fireworks. But Clawson Fest has become the second biggest event outside 4th of July. And we are getting a lot of pushback from city administration, or Clawson Fest was. But this has become a co-sponsored event with our Downtown Development Authority, our DDA, and Clawson, our city council. We came together this past week. We've come to recognize the importance of that event. The pushback the event was getting was the cost recovery. So our city administration was pushing back on some pretty heavy cost recovery. But we found that Clawson Fest has been donating about $11,000 back into our community. For about $4,000 of that is going right back into Clawson schools, and $7,000 into other local charities. So super important that we recognize that this is a large event that's giving back to our community. So we are looking at waiving those cost recovery, and looking at the importance of those types of co-sponsored events like Clawson Fest. So that's something that we came together this past week to do. But in terms of boards and commissions, those are moving along, budget season. And yeah, I'm just, another thing I want to mention, we had some bad weather here in Michigan. Keep communities on the west side of the state in your thoughts and prayers. The mayor of Three Rivers is a good friend of mine. I actually met her at the newly elected training at MML, Angel Johnston. So that's about it. Thank you, everyone.
All right, 1:28 before we go. Jordan Acker.
Thank you. Thank you. Before you get to the guy that I met in Arab-Israeli conflict in 2005, he was the guy who was sitting next to me. Seriously, I'm Jordan Acker. I'm UofM Regent. I want to talk a little bit about what we've been doing at the university, what we've accomplished in that 8 years, and especially the issue with ICE. So first thing is, we before the state did, we as a Democratic majority, the first Democratic majority in 20 years, we passed it so that the university would allow unionization on campus, neutral. The administration would be neutral towards unionization on campus. We've gone from 22% unionized to 55% unionized in just 2 years. We increased the Go Blue guarantee so that every Michigander who gets in the university and your household income is under $125,000, you go tuition free. And this one I'm proud of, the Democratic majority, which I'm proud to be a part of, has led the charge against the Trump administration in higher education. We are the lead plaintiff on the lawsuit that got back hundreds of millions of dollars in research grants. The University of Michigan was the one that did that. We recovered almost $250 million for cancer research in Ann Arbor. That is a big deal. And I want to talk about the last thing because you got ICE up there, and I've been thinking about this a lot. They decided to move into the building next to me in two towns. I'm in 2 Town Square. My office is. They're in 1 Town Square. They are bad neighbors. I don't want them around. But next week at our meeting, I'm going to introduce a resolution to prevent ICE from engaging with masks on our campus, from not identifying themselves on our campus, and to going into private areas on our campus because it's the least we can do to keep them out. They must, at the very minimum, act like our local police do. This is not okay. And I'll end with this, and this is one of the big things I want to work on if I'm reelected to another 8-year term after convention, is the graduate guarantee. I want to have it so if you go to the University of Michigan and you get a degree, a graduate degree in social work, in nursing, in medicine, in dentistry, in education, and you serve an underserved community in Michigan for 5 years after graduation, we relieve your debt. These are all the things that we're working on. I'm going to run again for a second 8-year term. I appreciate all your support. Convention is the 19th. Now I'm going to turn it over to my college classmate. You think he's good today? You should have heard him back arguing in Arab-Israeli conflict in 2005. Thank you all. You see you in the next one.
All right, our next speaker. Yes, we've been for U.S. Senate. I'm sorry, I messed this up. Abdul El Sayed.
All right. So who here believes we got to get money out of politics? And who believes we need money back in our pockets? And who is ready for Medicare for all? There it is. Must be in Royal Oak then. My name is Abdul El Sayed. I am running for U.S. Senate because I got a name that is tailor-made for U.S. politics. But also, y'all, it just shouldn't be this hard. Shouldn't be this hard to afford a second bag of groceries. Shouldn't be this hard to pay your rent or believe you could ever own a home if you're under 40 or stay in your home if you're over 65. Shouldn't be this hard to take your kid to a dentist or to see a doctor. Now, look, I was never supposed to run for office. I think if my folks realized how to run for office, they'd have stayed back home in Egypt where that's not possible. I'm running for office, though. And I'm running for office as a doctor, the doctor that I intended to be. And I became a doctor because I could go 15 hours or 15 minutes, and either way, I would cross a 10-year life expectancy gap. And I don't think it should matter the color of your skin, where you grew up, who your parents are, to shape whether or not you get to live a long, healthy life. I got the opportunity to go to the University of Michigan, where I did sit next to, where's Jordan? In the Arab-Israeli course. We've been continuing a conversation about that for the next 20 years. I graduated valedictorian in my class. I got to give the student commencement speech at Michigan. The first, you don't have to clap for that. Now, the only person that even clapped for there was my dad. It was like the first time he ever clapped for me, by the way. I got to do a PhD at Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar and finish med school at Columbia. In my final year there, I'm sitting there in front of patients realizing that too often the reason they get sick has less to do with all the physiology I just spent years and years learning and a lot more to do with pathologies in our politics. Do you get to breathe clean air, drink clean water, walk in your community without being the victim of somebody's violence? Do you even get to see a doctor if you're sick in the first place? And so I made a really odd decision. My dad did not clap for this one. Instead of pursuing a residency, I decided to go into public health. Got the opportunity to come home to the city of Detroit to rebuild Detroit's health department at 30 years old. Rebuilt it after the state came through and forced it to shut down a 185-year-old health department. Across my leadership, both leading Detroit's health department and then Wayne County's Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services, we did things like guarantee every child a free pair of glasses delivered at school within 2 weeks of a vision test, a program that since we brought it to the state of Michigan has done 50,000 pairs of glasses. Took on some of the biggest polluters in our entire state, forced Marathon Petroleum down on 75 in Southwest, biggest polluter and the most polluted zip code in the entire state, to invest $10 million of their own dollars to reduce their emissions when they had wanted to increase them. After Flint, we had every school, daycare, and Head Start tested for lead in the water. Helped to rewrite the state's lead laws after the Flint water crisis. We put Narcan in 100 different locations for free across Wayne County, put air quality monitors. Air quality monitors all over Wayne County so folks get real-time information about the air they're breathing. We built a program to provide small businesses, new small businesses, free health insurance so that they could get off and start running. And when we realized that our county ranked number 8 for medical debt nationwide, we realized that we could also eliminate it for pennies on the dollar. So that's what we did. We put aside $7 million to erase upwards of $700 million of medical debt across 300,000 people, biggest medical debt erasure in state history. Now look, I'm never going to forget the day. A little bit more than a year ago, feels like 10 years ago now, when this administration froze federal funds. Y'all remember that? I'm sitting in my office looking at all the line items that have been frozen. WIC, food on the table for moms and babies, federally qualified health centers, vaccines, all frozen. And I get a push notification on my phone that after his long and storied career, our U.S. Senator Gary Peters is not seeking re-election. And I had to ask myself, where is the fight for the public's health now? Now look, if I were to be elected, I would be the first doctor who's a Democrat to serve in the U.S. Senate since 1969. First ever public health official. And given all that RFK Jr. is doing right about now, I think we probably could use one of those.
Yeah.
But you all know I'm no stranger to this. I ran for office back in 2018. All right. I said, you know what? I had bad advice from a former president, Bill Clinton, who spoke at my college graduation, was like, you got to run for office someday. I took that way too seriously. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go big or I'm going to go home. I both went big and went home. But we ran on ideals and ideas. And I said something at the time folks weren't ready to hear. That's that Donald Trump himself is not the disease of our politics. He's just the worst symptom of the disease of our politics. And if we're serious about taking on Trump, we got to take on the disease. So what is the disease? It's the system that allows billionaires, corporations, would-be oligarchs to buy and sell our politics for pennies on the dollar. They rig the system so that we have to pay more for the stuff we got to buy and get paid less for the work that we do. This is a campaign to take that system on. We're running to do 3 simple but very difficult things. Number 1, we're going to get money out of politics. We're going to ban corporate contributions in our politics. We are going to ban congressional stock trading, and we are going to ban the entire infrastructure of dark money. And I can say that with a straight face because I have never taken corporate money to run, not in 2018 when I ran then, not now in 2026, and I am the only person running for Senate, Democrat or Republican, who can say that. Number 2, we're going to put money back in pockets. That means standing with unions who built the middle class, who built the 40-hour work week, who make sure our kids go to schools instead of going to work. We are going to pass the PRO Act to make it easier to join or form a union in any sector in American society. And instead of sending our tax dollars to subsidize big corporations, we are going to invest in small businesses here in communities because at the end of the day, you know how many millionaires you can make for 1 billionaire? 1,000 of them. I would rather have 1,000 millionaires than a single billionaire. And we could do that if we thought differently. And while we're at it, let's tax billionaires their wealth. Because here's the thing. You tax a billionaire 8%, you know what they still are? Still a billionaire. Their kids are going to be rich. So maybe they could spend a little bit to make sure that our kids get to go to good schools. And then lastly, I think it's a crazy thing that we've got special interests out here telling us that the best use of our tax dollars is to send them abroad to subsidize foreign militaries, to drop bombs on other people's children, when instead we could be spending that money on our own kids here at home. Now look, I'm proud of the work that we did to eliminate medical debt. But you know what? I wish I never did. You know why? I wish medical debt didn't exist. And so when we get to the U.S. Senate, we are going to make that a reality. We are going to end medical debt once and for all by finally doing the work and meeting the unmet promise of passing Medicare for all in this country. Now, I'm going to finish here because I know we got questions. I know I'm not supposed to run for office. I know I am the wrong color. I pray the wrong way. I've got the wrong name. I get it. I understand. That's got to give a lot of people a lot of anxiety. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, this campaign is not about just one Senate seat. There are a lot of Democrats out there that will tell you what you cannot have and should not fight for. They'll tell you that the time is not quite right to advocate for the very basic things. They'll tell you that you should wait another 2 years or 4 years when the coast is clear. But guess what? The coast's never clear. So the question to me is, when are we going to stop playing not to lose? And when are we going to start fighting to actually win? We've been now to 80 different cities, 270 public events. When your name's Abdul, you go everywhere, talk to everybody, okay? And everywhere we go, people understand that we are at a crossroads, a precipice. This campaign is about the fact that we can have nice things, but we cannot do it alone. The only way to have those things is to reach hands together, to build together what we need and deserve, to break the barriers, to breach the divides of geography, of race, of faith, of ethnicity, of sexual orientation, of gender identity, of all the things they tell us that divide us, to build together what we cannot have alone. That is what this campaign is about. And for me, it's personal. I got 2 little girls at home, 8 and 3, ethnically half Egyptian like me, ethnically half Indian, and got their looks from their mom, 100% American. And those little girls, they're growing up in an America where the Wrights, their grandparents on both sides took a bet on, feel further away than they've ever felt. My folks took a bet on this place. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men, should say people, are created equal. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And for most of my life, I felt like we weren't quite there, but we were always moving in that direction. And for the last 10, it's felt like we are getting dragged backwards. I am not willing to stand by as my little girls and your little girls and boys, be they their kids or your grandkids, lose the very foundations of what makes America, America. So in this campaign, we are building toward that future, the one where we can look our kids in the eye and say that we sustained, we fought, we built the things you needed and deserved, and be proud of passing forward their birthright to them. That is the work that we're doing on this campaign. And the only way to do it is to build together what we will not and cannot have alone, what they tell us we should not fight for. That is the fight worth having. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you all today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. We're pulling really well. So I'm going to invite you. So we're pulling really well everywhere, right?
You've been inviting me, but.
No, but I want to show you a picture. Go to our Instagram, and there's a picture from Munising. And there was a meteorologist in Munising who was just showing how much snow fell in Munising. And there's this gigantic snowbank, and on the top of the snowbank, there's this poster. And I want you to zoom in on the poster and see what it says. It's an Abdul for Senate poster. Money out of politics, money in your pocket, Medicare for all. I'll tell you what, I'm probably winning just on that lawn sign alone, like a third of the Democrats.
On that note, maybe you should share some of your endorsement. They're very diverse and throughout the states.
Well, I really appreciate that question. We're really grateful to have built a real coalition on this campaign. Obviously, one of the challenges has been we're told that our politics break down this like progressive versus moderate divide. I actually think for people in this room who are going to show up on a Saturday morning to like listen to a whole set of politicians speak, I hate to tell you guys are not normal. Okay. Like I'm like you, like, but none of us are normal. Like most people don't do this on a Saturday morning. Okay. We'd like more of them too, but they don't. All right. And the problem with it is when you pay too much attention to politics, you start to take seriously all of the ways people think our politics break. And I just hate to say it, like when you're out in the world, most people don't think that way. You know what the real divide in our politics is? The folks who feel locked out of politics and the folks who are doing the locking out. And so we're trying to build a coalition of validators who come out and say, this guy really does want to unlock your politics. All right. And that includes everybody from Bernie Sanders and Pramila Jayapal and Ro Khanna and former Congressman Andy Levin to folks like the Wayne County Executive, Warren Evans, to the only two city council people in Detroit have endorsed us. The only Wayne County commissioners who've endorsed have endorsed us, to a whole swath of county commissioners and city councilors from all over the state, places like Antrim County in Three Rivers, where they just got hit by a terrible tornado. And please do say a prayer for them today. It's just terrible, terrible seeing what's coming out of there. But we're building a coalition of people coming together around a politics that just looks and feels different. And I'll just tell you this, the moments for me that matter the most on this campaign that tell us like we're onto something. I was to your question, I was in Houghton, Michigan. Upper Peninsula is Upper Peninsula, all right? And this gentleman comes up to me and he's like, I don't like you. I was like, well, I like you. He's like, but I'm going to vote for you. And I'm like, sitting here be like, well, this is weird. That's not what I expected. And he's like, you know why? I was like, why? He's like, because you really want me to have healthcare. He's like, I know what a doctor can make. You decided to do this. Either you're stupid, which doesn't seem like you are, or you just really want me to have healthcare. So I'm going to vote for you. I'm going to get everybody I know to vote for you because I think you really, really want me to have healthcare. You do everything you can to do it. I was like, you got me, man. Right? I wish you liked me a little bit more, but that's all good. I'll go nurse my wounds somewhere else. But we're building that kind of coalition. See what I'm saying? We've got to get past this notion of like what is baked and polished and perfect for this moment. If we've learned anything from the Trump moment, is perfectly inoffensive does not work anymore. Okay? So the question is, what kind of righteous fight are you willing to fight? And when Trump came down that escalator, immigration was not even polling, not even top 10 of issues people were paying attention to. But you know what he did? He kept talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And now he's using the concept of immigration to weaponize a paramilitary force against the whole Constitution. Yeah. So what if we were willing to keep talking about it? But too often Democrats, we like do these little polls and then we're like, well, this is what's popular and this is what you should say. Turns out saying perfectly inoffensive things that don't get anybody's attention does not win you elections. So maybe if you want to win an election, tell people what you really want to fight for. What is that reach goal and how are we going to go fight for it together? The coalition we built is built on that. The willingness to actually say, you know what, at the end of the day, politics was about delivering something, not just saying what was popular, not just stopping the worst from happening. That you can look your kids in the eye and say, I fought for a better world, not just to make it work, not just to stop it from getting worse. And so that's what we're trying to do with the coalition we built. And that's what this campaign and frankly, a winning form of democratic politics ought to be about. People don't agree with guaranteed health care? All right, why don't we have the conversation? Because you know what, where I've gone and had the conversation, people come out and be like, you know what, damn, I really could have that. Why don't I? That's the conversation we should be having. One more question. There's too many, so you pick as the chair.
Let's take Cameron right there in the back.
Cameron in the back.
How do you plan to get this stuff done? And I think that it's unavoidable to have it in a bipartisan way. How do you plan to do that?
I love that question, Cameron. Thank you. The question was Medicare for all, guaranteed access to tuition-free and debt-free education. How are you going to get that done in a bipartisan way? Like, how are you going to do it? Number one, it's being willing to go and persuade people about why we should have it. So I think people think that the Senate is about a conversation between 100 senators. It is partly that, but it's more about a conversation with the 350 million people who voted for those 100 senators. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the show on the road. Let's go have a conversation in every single state in the country about Medicare for all. Because here's what will happen. Look, let's just practical politics here. If I get nominated, all of a sudden, so this race is already the most interesting race in the country, all right? If I get nominated, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, this is a very Muslim guy running for Senate in Michigan, in a must-win state, and all of a sudden, all the attention comes up. You know what the central core of all politics is? Can you move attention righteously? So my job now, all of a sudden, is to take all the attention that comes to this race and focus it like a laser into the soul of my products, which is, not going to be very different. All of a sudden, we came through the most interesting race of 2026, right? So my endorsement becomes one of the most important endorsements of 2028. So here's honestly, what I'm going to tell you. Every single person, and all like 50 of them lining up to run for president in 2028, if you want to come through Michigan and you don't sound like me on Medicare for all, and you don't sound like me on a just foreign policy, and you're not willing to have serious conversations about what it looks like to fundamentally rethink immigration reform, then I'm going to dog you up and down the state. And if you do sound like me, then I'm going to introduce you to 10 million of my friends, right? And what I'm saying here is this. What we do in this election has ripple effects. So I'm going to be out there campaigning for Medicare for all. Forget whoever runs. I'm campaigning for Medicare for all. I'm not finishing our campaign. We're just getting started. And as you campaign for Medicare for all, you are forcing the hand of every person who wants to be the Democratic nominee to show me and tell me that they are going to put a Medicare for all bill or pass a Medicare for all bill that comes across their desk, which, by the way, we'll be feverishly rewriting. We have a perfectly good version right now, but I got some opinions. We're a whole book on it. So that's where we're going. See what I'm saying? So if we can do it, this is the moment. And I just want to give you the context. Our premiums went up 15%, if you can afford it. We are in the midst of what economists call a death spiral. Because what's going to happen is a lot of young folks are choosing between plans they can't afford and no plan at all. If they choose not to take a plan at all, what will happen is the costs have to be borne by somebody, which means premiums go up another 15, 20% next year. That means that heading into 2027 and into 2028, what the number one thing everybody's thinking about is, I cannot afford healthcare. And we've got a real solution. So all of this is moving in one direction, which is to say, help us make history here in Michigan, prove out a path on Medicare for all in Michigan, which is central on the presidential map. And then let's go and push the next nominee to be somebody who agrees that one of their key goals is going to be to address the oncoming brokenness of our healthcare system through a Medicare for all reform in 2028 or 2029. That's how we do it. You just do the politics. Start persuading, start building power around it, start holding people accountable, and then get it done. So they're giving me the hook. I got to play myself off. Anyway, I hope that I've said, she's literally providing me music. I hope I've said something that inspires you to be a part of this campaign. If I have, there are a number of ways to get involved. Number one, if you have not signed for any of us, please do sign to get me on the ballot. I know right back there, my team's right here. You just look for the folks who've got the very perfect political name on their shirts. Talk to them, they'll help you sign. Number two, if you're looking to volunteer and get involved, we're building a movement. It's not just a campaign. We've got 3,500 volunteers and counting. If you'd like to be a part of that, sign up to volunteer. You can also do that right back there. I don't take corporate money. I never have. So I rely on good people like you. If you'd like to chip us off, $5, $10, $7,000. I hope you'll consider doing that. They can also help you back there. And then lastly, follow us on socials, but more importantly, I want you to reach out to somebody after today. I think a lot of us take for granted that we're the kind of people who get involved in politics and other people are not. But part of the problem is our politics feel so far away for a lot of people. And it's that human bridge that is so important. So whoever it is that you're going to reach out to, I want you to think about who they are. Might be your kids, might be your grandkids, might be your parents, right? Reach out to them and be like, hey, had a great conversation about some things. I've been thinking a lot about X problem. This person feels like they really want to solve it. And I hope you'll check them out. Follow them on socials. Here's a video. I hope that you'll consider doing that. And then y'all keep showing up. All right. Our politics is built by the people who show up for it. Thank you for being those people. And next time, bring a friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. All right. We have a lot of speakers that still want to talk. Let's start with our judges. Judges or your judges staff, please come against the wall. I'm going to give everyone who's going to speak from now on 3 minutes because we have 40 minutes and that's still going to barely get us all in. So judges, we're going to start with judges. Come on up to speak. Introduce yourself and then let the crowd know who you are running for or what you're running for. Let's start.
Sure. Thanks. Hi, everyone. I am Megan Cavanagh. I am the Chief Justice of your Michigan Supreme Court. So 8 years ago, I stood in this room and asked for your support and your trust in putting me on the Michigan Supreme Court. And I remain ever grateful that you did that, in fact. And so I, with your support, was elected in 2018. And in those 8 years, it has been an incredible transformation. We went from Republican nominated justice majority of 4-3 to a Democrat nominated justice majority of 6-1 on our current Michigan Supreme Court. And I also have to note that we have a female majority of 4-3 justices on our court. I know Noah's going to talk to my friend here. We are running together to continue that incredibly important work that we have accomplished over the last 8 years. I don't need to tell the people in this room how incredibly important our state courts are, right? We are literally the last line of defense from the national chaos and the national uncertainty of what is going on protecting our rights. And so whether that is, you know, making sure that citizens have a right to redress under the Michigan Constitution when the government takes advantage of that, whether we can protect discrimination against sexual orientation, whether or not citizens have the right, as we do under the Michigan Constitution, to initiate laws and constitutional amendments. All of those questions come before the Michigan Supreme Court, and it matters who sits on that court. And something else I always like to mention, and I think it's less well known, right? We know the cases that the Supreme Court decides, but what's less known, but equally as important, is that we are responsible for the courts throughout our state. So Judge Kowalkowski, who talked earlier about their amazing Operation Drive program that is now spreading throughout the state, that is literally changing people's lives. That is also our responsibility as justices. We have an obligation to make sure that the district court who's handling your license suspension knows how to make their court accessible and fair and equal treatment, how the family court judge that is looking to keep kids safe and keep families together has the support and the resources that they need to do that. That is the job also of a Michigan Supreme Court justice. And that is really what is most important, I think, because very few people get their case in front of the Michigan Supreme Court, but everyone interacts with our justice system in those trial courts. So that is important for what we are doing. And we have so much more work to do. We have an amazing bench. You're going to hear from my friend Noah Hood, who I am thrilled to have joined us just a little less than a year ago, a little less than a year ago, when the governor appointed him. We have an amazing court. We are doing incredibly important work, and I am honored to have been doing that for the last 8 years, and I would appreciate your support to do it for the next 8 years as well. Thank you very much for having me.
Morning, everyone, and thank you, Chief Justice. My name is Noah Hood, and I am the newest justice in the Michigan Supreme Court. And with your help, I will stay there for the next 8-year term. Thank you. I was appointed by Governor Whitmer in May of 2025, and I will be on the ballot in November of 2026. Here's what that means. That means that you've had 9 months to look at the work that I've been doing and another 9 months to decide if you want to keep me on the job. I'm here today for 3 reasons. First, to say thank you. Second, to introduce myself. And third, to ask for your help. Let me start by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone who's still sitting in their seat or still standing in the back listening to what is probably the most important race on the ballot this coming November. It's not the most interesting. It's not the sexy race, but this is the one that's going to have the most direct impact on your life. Thank you for showing up on a rainy Saturday to come listen to candidates talk. And thank you for being engaged, for choosing not to surrender to cynicism or hopelessness, to say, I'm willing to take on this fight. I said I was here to introduce myself. Again, my name is Noah Hood. I've been on the court for about 9 months. Prior to serving on the Michigan Supreme Court, I served on the Michigan Court of Appeals for just over 3 years. That is a high volume court. And on that high volume court, I was a high volume judge. Here's what that means. Over the span of 3 years, I issued approximately 60 or 65 authored opinions in addition to 200 per curiam opinions. What that means is there's a body of written work out there where you can look and say, not how I'm going to decide a certain case, but how does this guy think about a case when it shows up? On everything from zoning law to construction lien act to search and seizure to the confrontation clause. Just Google, what has Noah Hood said about the construction lien act? What has he said about the confrontation clause? And you will get an answer. Prior to serving on the Michigan Court of Appeals, I was a trial judge in Wayne County for 3 years, 1 year prior to COVID and 2 years during COVID. I make that distinction because they were fundamentally different jobs. I see you nodding, you know what I'm talking about. That first week, half of my staff was hospitalized, and people forget what it was like then, but it informs how I do the work on our courts, on our state's highest court. In the 10 business days leading up to the COVID shutdown, I tried 2 cases on criminal sexual conduct, 1, those are child rape cases, and 1 case on assault with intent to murder in 10 business days. After the COVID shutdown, it screeched to a halt. That had an impact on victims, on defendants, on everybody that our system touches. And if every liquor store going up and down Woodward was open during that time, I don't know why we weren't showing up for jury duty. That informs how I do my work on this, our state's highest court, because one of our responsibilities is rulemaking. Prior to being a trial judge, I was a federal prosecutor, most recently in Detroit, working opioid prosecutions involving medical professionals. But the bulk of my experience came from Northern Ohio, where I was in a branch office. This is when DOJ had a prior hiring freeze. And there I focused on fraud, public corruption, and money laundering. I also did firearms offenses, including Title 26 firearms, that's machine guns, silencers, and short-barreled rifles. And I prosecuted crimes against children. I say all that to say I come to this job not as a politician. I come as a practitioner. I have real-world experience, and it informs how I do the work on our state's highest court. I see that I am also getting the hook, and so I'm going to leave you. I'm going to echo a pitch that you already heard, and this is the ask for help, which is if you like what you've heard from Chief Justice Cavanagh or what you've heard from me, tell somebody, right? Because we need your help, not just as an organization, but as individuals, because the individuals in this room, each and every single one of you represents a community of trust. I guarantee you, and I see some of you nodding, somebody at your barbershop that says, hey, I'm looking at the back of the ballot and I don't really know, who do I vote for district judge or circuit judge or Supreme Court? You know what I'm talking about. When they ask you that, tell them Justice Cavanagh and Justice Noah Hood. Thank you.
All right, next up, we don't have. No more judges? Okay, we go, okay. Yeah, well, hold on. Come on up, yeah.
Right, thank you for the opportunity. I'm John Paul Torres. I'm a candidate for Congress in the 11th Congressional District. So I want to tell you a story about 1998. 1998, I was working at Arby's making roast beef sandwiches for $5.10 an hour. And my wife at the time, who's still my wife now and here in the back, was pregnant. And I needed to make a decision in my life and decide what I was going to do and how I was going to be able to provide for my family. So we used a lot of programs that are being cut by the big bill, right? I enrolled in community college using low interest student loan programs to get a start, right? To get that education. Went on to 4-year university, got my bachelor's degree in political science. Went on to get a master's degree in public administration from the University of Michigan. My wife and I, we put each other through school through low student interest loan programs, right? And we're proud of that because we did that all as working parents. Now let's talk about our child, right? Our little daughter who was born to 19-year-old kids. She was a Head Start child. She was a Medicaid child, right? We couldn't afford health insurance. We lived in government subsidized housing. My daughter, she got her nutrients through WIC, Women, Infant, Children, right? These are the programs the big bill is cutting in Congress that the Trump administration cut, right? Cuts to Medicaid, cuts to Medicare, right? Cuts to SNAP benefits, limitations on student loan programs for people like me who needed to go on and get an education and better their life, right? So I fast forward to it 28 years later. You think of those programs that we used, right? The WIC programs, the government subsidized housing, the low interest student loan programs. And we look at where we are now today, right? And here I am, 28 years later, and I'm in a position where I can run for the United States Congress. I am an example, my wife are an example of the beauty of those benefits in those programs. And our story is not unique. There are millions of those stories all across this country. And when the Trump administration tells you that these programs should be doged, or they should be removed, or that they're a drag on our economy and our society, don't believe it. You need people who are the example of those benefits in those programs. So a little bit about myself, right? I've spent the past 25 years working in government. I'm a public administrator in the court end of the criminal justice system. I've spent the last 10 years working as a court administrator. I'm an elected leader in my community in Waterford as a school board trustee, right? The beauties of those benefits. Somebody who's being able to give back to the programs that gave him so much, right? And I look at my daughter, the little girl who was a Head Start child, who was a recipient of WIC programs, the little girl who lived in government subsidized housing. She's now a 28-year-old attorney who sues corporations for a living. Now, I'm very proud of her achievements and her experiences, and of my wife and what we've done. And so when this position came about, this decision to actually run for Congress and to take on all the injustices that we are seeing across this country, I knew it was time to step up, because what we need in this country are people like me, people who come from the working class, people who have been recipients of these benefits they're attacking, people who know the wrong that they are bringing forward. So I'm asking you all to support me in my candidacy for Congress. I have my wife over here in the back with her petitions. I have one of my campaign people over here, Esperanza, with petitions as well, and I'll be here as well. So I appreciate it, and I thank you.
Hey, before we get Don Inford is also running in the same race, so let's just get Don up here while we just listen to John Paul.
Thank you, everyone. Don Ufford here. I'm an engineer, a builder, a dad, and I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives here in Michigan's 11th Congressional District. And before we start, I just want to recognize the freedoms that are under attack today by the Trump administration. We need to recognize those that went before us in Selma on Bloody Sunday and fought for those freedoms. We need to fight for those freedoms. You are helping, and you are out there fighting for those freedoms, fighting against Trump and what he's trying to do. I want to be with you as we go forward to fight for those. I come from a farm, grew up with my family. You know what is a little bit tough, but we were able to make it because of the federal government and great programs like the Pell Grant program. I was able to go to school. I was able to come out here to Michigan, work at Ford Motor Company, build great things like the F-150, and build a family here. My wife, Rebecca, and I have 2 kids, love them to pieces, but you know what? They ended up leaving Michigan. They went other places for a job. We got to make sure that we're building so we keep people here, so young people want to stay here and grow our communities. After retiring from Ford, I went out to work in the U.S. Department of Commerce for President Biden, and then I went over to the White House to work for President Biden on the EV transition. You know what? Clean energy is the way of the future. But this administration is focused on everything I worked on. They want to wipe out. They want to wipe out, and I'm sick and tired of it. So I left the U.S. government. I quit. I said, I'm going to raise my hand to work for all Michiganders and fight for all Michiganders. So I'm fighting to make sure that, number one, we build things, whether it's infrastructure, where we build things with our hands. We recognize and we're able to grow unions through passing the PRO Act finally, get it past those Republicans. They're pushing back against it. Grow union membership, grow entrepreneurship, and give our young people a solid reason to stay here and grow with us. Number two, protect our health care. Healthcare is under attack, whether it's ACA, Medicaid, Medicare. It's important to our family. My wife, she had a heart transplant. She had heart disease, only possible through good insurance and the University of Michigan and their heart program. Well, you know what? We need the Affordable Care Act so she could recover, because she could be thrown off if she didn't have that care for pre-existing conditions. Affordable, accessible health care, absolutely a must. You've heard that. We as Democrats are going to deliver that. Number 3, lowering costs. Anybody in here think your costs are too low? I don't. Utility costs, who's seen your utility costs go up this year? You know what? Everywhere I go, people talk about that. I'm not taking corporate PAC money. I've signed the In Citizens United pledge. We got to get that corporate PAC money out of there. I'm going to fight to ban congressional stock trading. You know what? That's flat out wrong. And we ought to have term limits. Some of these folks are in there forever. Like, what do you mean? This is not a lifetime job. This is representing people, and it's working with all of you. And we need to fight for our freedoms. We need to fight for our freedoms to make sure we protect the right to vote, make sure we protect women's reproductive freedoms, make sure we're protecting our ability to stand up, speak out. I'm Don Ufford. I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives. I'm the only candidate out there with a combination of working in federal government, working in industry, who knows how to get things done, 60 jobs an hour around the world, who has been solid in the community with community volunteerism, and who's out there to make sure that we're supporting all of you and we're working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. My name is Connor. I am not Amanda Treppa, but I'm here on her behalf. She is running for the newly drawn State Senate District 10, which is portions of Mallory McMorrow's seat and Paul Voyno's seat, who's my state senator. I live over in Warren, and this new district is an opportunity for us to elect a Democrat who is going to be a fighter. Amanda grew up in the foster care system. She grew up Black in Sterling Heights. She's a bisexual woman. She's a single mother. She knows exactly what kind of issues our society has. And I believe when we look at who we want to elect to this district, we have to look at lived experiences. We've had a lot of Democrats over the years promise us things, say we're going to deliver. But I can tell you, as a staffer who was up there in the last trifecta, I heard a lot of Democrats in leadership say, we can't fight for that right now. We can't push that. It's too dangerous. We need to stand up on things like regional revenue sharing to make sure that our state taxpayer dollars are getting to our communities. The Republicans spent 40 years systematically dismantling the ability for communities to fund themselves and made them dependent on their Republican legislature. We've had one trifecta in 40 years, and when we take back the trifecta this time, we are going to fight for the things that we need to see done. And it's the people in this room that have the opportunity to elect a Democrat in a safe seat. This seat's going to be an 85% Democrat seat. So in August, whoever you guys vote for, or whoever we vote for, is going to decide that seat. And we need somebody who's going to take that position, go to the front lines, flip more Senate seats, flip more House seats, get the trifecta back, just like Mallory McMorrow did. And that is why Mallory has given her endorsement to Amanda, because she believes Amanda is the next generation of leadership that we need to see out there. So if you have any questions about Amanda, I'm going to be hanging out in the hallway. We've got events coming up every week. We're going to be out on the doors. We are a grassroots campaign. She is not taking corporate money. She is not going to bend over for DTE or the insurance companies, the things that we've all gotten too used to from some of our Democratic leaders. So if you believe in that vision, please join our campaign and please consider voting for Amanda in August. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian. Hello again. Natalie Price, current state representative for most of Royal Oak and running for this new Senate seat that includes all of Royal Oak, all of Berkeley, Huntington Woods, Ferndale, Hazel Park, Pleasant Ridge, Madison Heights, Royal Oak Township, Clawson, Oak Park, half of Warren and Centerline. So why am I running for state senate, right? Looking to take 3 times as many constituent voices with me to Lansing to fight for our shared values. I'm in my 4th year as a state representative. I've seen what we can accomplish in a trifecta. not enough with the 1-seat majority. And I've been here doing the work, defending the progress, introducing the bills, ready to hit the ground running when we get a trifecta back. We're going to have 2 more years of a Trump administration attacking, and we need people with the experience and the relationships to hit the ground running and get the work done. So I am here to do the work, to continue to take your voices to Lansing to fight for our shared values. I also, look, this is a time, I think, when we are all feeling under attack. We need to know that our reps and our senators are doing everything in our power to protect us. We also need to have a positive vision of what we can do, what we can offer Michigan under Democratic control. And that is why I focused a lot of my time on the Vision Project, making sure that the Democratic caucuses are offering that vision. Thank you to so many of you who filled out the survey, who participated in the process in the town halls. Stay tuned. In about 2 weeks, we're going to be announcing that vision for our future. And no surprise, it's going to be including better access to healthcare, better environmental protections, funding safe schools and good quality schools. And I'm here for it. I'm here to continue the work. Now I am running. It is a competitive race, as you heard. I am announcing too today, I've been talking about my fellowship program. I have all 6 of my fellows here today. So wanting to give them a shout out. Yes, we've got Owen and Bobby. We've got Cameron, Ajane, and Lydia and Alice. So grateful for these high school and a UofM student stepping up to help out the team. And my big ask today is that you come out to our fellowship fundraiser. It's going to be at the end of the month over at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak. We've got flyers. Help us and share with others who might want to help fund the fellowship program. We are training them in all aspects of running the campaign, giving them the direct experience and support, helping to bring up our new leadership, Democratic leadership. So thank you to the fellows for being here. Ajane and Alice are going to walk around. If you want a flyer, you can come out and participate. Flag them down. And I'm also going to pass around sign-in sheets. If you are interested in getting updates from the campaign, joining our team, this is a great opportunity to plug in if you haven't already. So pass them around, add your name, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
I have Nicole Huddleston come up, running for judge. Please welcome Nicole Huddleston.
Thank you so much, Carol. Good afternoon, or I think it's still morning. Good morning. My name is Nicole Huddleston. I want to say first, thank you. So I ran for judge in 2024, and a lot of people in this room helped me. You either signed a petition for me, you circulated a petition, you voted for me. And because of that, we raised nearly $300,000, garnered over 231,000 votes, and had over 100 endorsements from our elected officials here in Oakland County and throughout the state of Michigan. And so I want to say thank you. But I also see a lot of new faces. And so I just want to briefly introduce myself. Again, my name is Nicole Huddleston. I'm a mother. I have 3 daughters. My oldest daughter is out in California. My middle daughter is a student at University of Michigan. And my youngest daughter graduated from Yale last May. And she's currently in London getting a master's in art. I also have a 13-year-old son. I have a Labradoodle. He is everybody's favorite family member. He's about 70 pounds. And I'm a caregiver for my father. So he moved in with us several years ago. He has COPD. And in 24, right before the election, my father-in-law was diagnosed with dementia. And so my husband are double caregivers for both my father and his. I've been practicing law for over a decade, and I've dedicated my entire legal career to providing free legal services and ensuring that the legal and justice system works for everybody, not just those who are well-connected and well-off. I started my legal career in the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office in the Domestic Violence Division, supporting survivors of domestic violence. I then went to Legal Aid and Defender Association, and when they lost their funding, I followed the funding to Lakeshore Legal Aid. And there I provided free legal services to senior citizens, survivors of domestic violence in the family court when they were looking to separate from their abusers, get a divorce, or keep their kids safe, senior citizens, and also individuals living at or below the poverty guideline. And I did that work for several years. In 2018, I went to the Detroit Justice Center. And I had a really amazing opportunity. DJC opened up as a social justice nonprofit law firm, and we worked with returning citizens. We wanted to ensure that they could reintegrate back into the community more successfully. And so we would go into prisons 6 months before they were set to be released to make sure that they would have a driver's license, a social security card. They could get out and have safe and affordable housing. They could get a job. They can get connected to their kids and their families and be strong contributing members of society. We heard Judge Kowalkowski talked about the road to restoration. Well, under my leadership at the Detroit Justice Center, we partnered with the state of Michigan, and we are the attorneys who were providing the free legal services so that those individuals could get back on the road and get their license back. Having provided free legal services to thousands of individuals over the last decade, I've truly seen both good judges and bad judges. I've seen how great judges can positively impact individuals and communities, but I've also seen the collateral consequences of judges who are disconnected from everyday members of society. I've been the people judge for over a decade, and I'm the people's attorney for over a decade, and I will be the people's judge if you help me get there. We need judges who not only know the law, but we need judges who have a heart for people, who understand the impact that their decision will have on the individuals who are in their courtroom, their families, and the communities at large. And so I am asking for your help. I currently need signatures in order to get on the ballot. It's been really cold, and so we are behind on our signature collection. If you have not signed my petition or signed another petition for an Oakland County Circuit Court candidate, I ask today that you do sign my petition. But I'm going to ask you to do one more. So when I ran in 24, I garnered over 231,000 votes, but I lost by 55,000 votes. But here's the thing. We had over 200,000 people who voted either at the polls or absentee ballot who did not vote in my race. And so I need you to help me do some outreach. I need you to reach out to 5 people come August when it's time to vote, or really before then, because we know that 9 days of early voting will start. But I need you to encourage people to vote in the nonpartisan section, because judges are really important. They yield a lot of power, and we need judges who understand their power and will use it for good and not for bad, and not negatively impact communities and individuals who come before them. So please help me. Encourage people to go to the nonpartisan section of the ballot, join the huddle, encourage people to vote for me, Nicole Huddleston. And if you haven't signed my petition on your way out, I would greatly appreciate your signature. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How cute is that? All right, next up, Elisabeth Dery, you're also for judge, probate, right?
Correct.
Probate.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody. I'm beginning to see a lot of familiar faces. I'm trying to get here as often as I can. I'm Elisabeth Dery, and I'm running for Oakland County Probate Judge, not the same judge that Nicole just was talking about, that's circuit court. So probate, for anybody who is not familiar with it, is dealing with a will dispute, a trust dispute, getting a guardianship over a parent or a minor, dealing with developmentally disabled individuals, dealing with mental health issues. Anything that touches any one of those subjects will go before your probate judge. And I got a little bit of a head start. I'm serious about becoming a probate judge. So I started collecting signatures last fall. I'm proud to say I turned in my signatures in December. I have confirmation that I have enough signatures and I'm on the ballot in November. Because of the judicial race, I'm not allowed to raise funds. We just started in early February, the ability to start raising funds. So everything I did until February, I did out of my own pocket because I'm serious about becoming your judge. I am currently a practicing probate attorney. I've been a probate attorney for almost 15 years. I know what it is to go through the probate process. I know the emotional toil that you go through, and I help my clients do it every day. Believe it or not, as much as you all probably don't like probate, I love probate. I love the process of probate. I love helping people through that process, and I want to be able to do that more. As an attorney, I can only help so many people. My field of impact is very small, but as a judge, I have the ability to help everybody in the community. So when you come into my courtroom, I want you to know that you're going to be heard. I'm going to help you through that process, and we're going to get through it so you can move on with your life and put that moment behind you, or provide you the support that you need ongoing as a guardian or a conservator or somebody who's helping and dealing with a developmentally disabled individual. So, as Nicole said, there's a lot going on next year. Don't forget to flip over your ballot and vote for your judges, because we're at the base of the community, and who you vote for your judge has a huge impact on you. So I'll be around. My campaign is ramping up. I took a short hiatus over the holidays. Right before the end of the year, I got married. So my wife and I were on honeymoon. We're back in town. We're ready to rock and roll. So you'll be seeing us around a lot more. Thank you very much.
All right, next up, ready for State Rep, Lauer.
Welcome's always amazing to see you. I've been happy to get to know you over the last 4 months here, and just want to give you a quick update. Okay, so I'm David Lauer. I'm running for 6 districts, state representative, Birmingham down the Woodward corridor, all the way to Huntington Woods, sliver of Southfield. some cool campaign updates. One, we hit our fundraising goal, which is amazing. Early of June, we've ordered all our lit and we are ready to door knock. It's amazing. We've assembled a team of about 10 volunteers, dedicated campaign manager, staffer, and we are ready to come see you at your door. So look for us in the next couple of weeks here. We're going to be out there. Typically, I'd be like, hey, can you please offer us some money or help out and things like that? We always want your involvement. That's not to discourage that in any way, but I just want to let you know that thanks to you and our communities in District 6, you've come through strong for us, and we're very grateful for that. So I'm going to keep it really short. My name is David Lauer. You can go to electdavidlauer.com, and we look forward to helping our other candidates in red and purple seats. That is a priority for us after the primary. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
All right, next up is Melanie Macy. McMorrow, anything.
So much, but it is great to be up here and see all these faces. And I will say the energy in this room is palpable, and it is an excellent tonic to the toxic news cycle. So thank you for that. My name is Melanie Macy. I'm here to share some big news. And I wanted to share it here first because this club, this community is my political home. I've been 15 years ago, I was getting browbeat by Tom Regan into signing up to be a precinct delegate. And I was sitting
Haven't we all?
And I was sitting in these chairs when I had the audacity to think that I could run for office the first time. And it was because of the people in this room that I got the support and the coaching and the mentorship and the friendship that got me there and helped me to learn how to lead. So I'm very grateful. And so I'm here to do it again. I'm announcing today that I'm running for House of Representatives in the 6th District. Natalie Price is saying. Thank you. Thank you for the support. I have leaned on that support very much, and I recognize how very lucky we are to have this club in my hometown, in our backyard. This club isn't one that just talks about their values. You guys organize and you show up and you fight for them. And that's what I think we need for a representative in Lansing. And that's why I'm running. This seat is a safe Democratic seat, but a safe Democratic seat and a strong Democratic seat should be one that drives policy in Lansing, one that we lead with, not just one that we hold. So for the past few years, I've been working for Promote the Vote on voting rights, access to the ballot, and keeping our democracy strong. I've had the opportunity to work with legislators, including Representative Price, to get some major pro-voter reforms passed. Senator McMorrow did a good job of summarizing them earlier. And then also, more lately, defend those reforms when they're under attack, and make no mistake, they are under attack. And I'm ready to go and fight in Lansing. That's why I'm running for this seat. The same values that we fight for every single election cycle are the ones that I care about. I care about protecting our environment, strengthening our schools, investing in our workers and our communities, parental leave. And these are not pie in the sky ideals that we have. We can get this done in Lansing, but we know that we can't leave things on the table. That's what we've learned in the past few years, is that their machines of destruction are faster and stronger than we thought. We need to put everything in place. We got to get it done, and we've got to make it ironclad. So I'm hoping to run and win so I can do that for you in Lansing. And I'm here today just to announce that I'm getting going, and I've leaned on your support in the past, and I will do so again in the future. So thank you very much.
All right, do I have any more candidates for office to speak? Any more candidates for office to speak? Wow, we got through that. Crazy. All right, just a couple of announcements before we leave. Don't forget, you guys can still, on your email that you get from the club and or our website or our socials, we have donations, and get people to our youth summit. If you have a niece, a nephew, a grandson, granddaughter, anybody, get them to our summit. They're going to learn a lot. They're going to love it. A couple announcements before we finish up. Can't believe we got this in on time. Social night, third Thursday of every month. This month it'll be at Cantoritos, which is on North Main Street, just north of 11 Mile. It's Mexican. Open to everybody. It's not an official meeting. It's just come and enjoy yourself.
Club t-shirts on sale right back there at the table if you don't have cash. We also do Venmo right there at the table. There's the last email I sent out, there's a club survey. Please fill out the club survey. All it is just make sure that we're doing what we should be doing for you guys. We want to make sure that you guys are happy with the club. March 28th, No Kings Rally, March 28th. We're trying to get 3.5% of the US population to protest. That's going to send a message. So the closest one to here is Ferndale. There's ones all over. Troy, Oak Park. Go to nokings.org and you'll find that for you. There's also some No Kings events like sign making. The one in Ferndale also needs assistance for like referees and stuff to help out. And then today, every other Saturday, today between 1 and 3, we'll be at 12 Mile and Woodward protesting. I think the rain is going to hold off until 4 o'clock. Come on out, protest, hour and a half, 1 to 3. Bring any signs you got. What you got?
International Women's Day, and I wanted to recognize the women leaders of every level in this room here today. We have women who are, I think, are the bravest people against this fascist regime. You have stood up to this fascist regime. You are our candidates. You are our elected officials. You are our backbone of this club. You are getting the petitions signed. You are holding signs. You are marching. Thank you very much. And also, I want to recognize women around the world who have stood up against fascism. So please recognize your women tomorrow, International Women's Day. The world recognizes this day because women were an asset. We have the strongest feelings for this earth, for our children, and really for justice. Okay.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, stay active, stay off the news. We'll see you next month.